Let's go make this super cute patchwork heart sweatshirt. The first thing I did was I had a layer cake, and it's Riley Blake, My Valentine. It has all these fabrics in it. So I got that. I chose the ones I wanted. I cut them, and I pieced this together. I wanted mine to be patchwork, but it would be just as cute with one solid heart. So don't let the patchwork intimidate you, okay? My piece, I knew I needed to be about 12 inches wide. Now, I'm gonna fold it in half, and I'm just gonna cut a heart out of it, like kindergarten. I'm going to use these Amelia 8-inch scissors from Missouri Star Quilt Company. There's a link to those in my bio. It's a whole set, actually. It's 3 different sizes of scissors, a rotary cutter, a mat, a seam ripper, and some seam ripper replacements. Oh my goodness, look how cute it is. Okay, now I'm gonna take some flannel. I happen to have this. It's just a scrap. We want 2 layers. I'm gonna fold it over so that the design is on the inside, so it won't show through if any of my fabric is white and see-through. Then I'm gonna take my heart and I'm gonna put it on my flannel, just like this. I'm going to take some pins and I'm gonna pin it down. We're using flannel because when we sew it on there, it gives our design a little bit of lift. It kind of mimics those shirts made out of old cutter quilts. So that's what we put the flannel on the back for. If you don't have any flannel, you don't have to use it, or you could use cotton batting, fleece, felt, whatever else you have. You're just looking for the lift. Now I'm pinning so that I can sew all the way around my design without taking my pins out, and I don't want to sew over my pins because I'm afraid that I'm going to hit a pin with my sewing machine needle. The sewing machine needle is going to break, and then I am going to have a pin in my eye, and I don't want that. I want to stop sewing with the number of eyes that I started sewing with. And now we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew a straight stitch all the way around it. Easy peasy. Now I'm just going to go sew a straight stitch all the way around it. I'm going to back stitch when I begin and when I end because my grandma said so. There's a template available for this heart at hometownquiltcompany.com. And don't forget, when you make these sweatshirts, to email me a photo, hometownquiltcompany@gmail.com, because I want to see. Show and tell is my favorite, and everybody else's too. Trust me, they tell me. When you sew this on your sweatshirt in a minute, you can sew it with a straight stitch if you don't mind if your fabric frays. I like the fray. I think it's really pretty, but some people don't. And if you don't want the fabric to fray, then you can zigzag it down. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so cute. So I'm gonna take my Amelia scissors from Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'm gonna cut my heart out. Now I'm just cutting as close to the fabric as I can, but I don't really want to cut my fabric. And even if I cut the edge of my fabric, that's perfectly fine. I do not want to cut the stitches though. I made my patchwork by cutting my pieces into 2.5-inch strips and sewing those together, and then cutting them apart and sewing them back together. But you can make your patchwork any way you want to, if you want patchwork. And now we have our super cute patchwork heart. We're gonna lay it on our sweatshirt. So the general rule is 3 inches down. I am kind of short, so I'm going to start at the top of my sweatshirt and measure down 3 inches. And that's where basically I want the points of my heart to be. I'm going to straighten my sweatshirt out to make sure that it is not crooked. We do not want a crooked heart. And then I'm going to measure each side from under the arms to the sweatshirt to make sure we're basically even. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to pin my heart to my sweatshirt. When I pin it, I want to make sure that I'm only getting the first layer of my sweatshirt. Somebody said you could put a piece of cardboard underneath there, which I thought was kind of genius. Somebody else said a cutting mat. Genius. A cutting board. Genius. Anything that keeps you from getting both layers of your sweatshirt, because you don't want to sew your heart to the front and the back, because then you don't have anywhere to put your head. So we're going to pin it just like we did before so that we can sew all the way around without taking our pins out until we're finished and without sewing over our pins. We have it pinned to our sweatshirt. The next thing we're going to do is basically sew over the stitches we already made. We're just going to go sew in one big circle. We're going to start, go all the way around, and that's it. We'll be done. So I'm going to open up the bottom of my sweatshirt, slide it underneath my presser foot of my sewing machine, and I'm starting at the tip. You can start anywhere. I'm just happen to start here because it's at the bottom. I'm gonna stitch and back stitch, and I'm gonna make my way around slow and steady, making sure that I don't get the back of my sweatshirt because I don't want to sew my sweatshirt together. Now I'm just doing a straight stitch because I like the fray when it washes, but if you don't want the fray, you can do a zigzag stitch and that will definitely help. And I'm going slow and making sure that I don't catch the other side of my sweatshirt. Slow and steady is the only trick here. Now let's take our pins out and put our sweatshirt on. Look at what you just made in just a few minutes. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.